All right, Urza Sword. For those that haven't been following Modern very closely since Modern Horizons was released, Urza, Lord High Artificer here, says, tap an untapped artifact you control, make a blue mana. It also has this line of text, pay 5, shuffle your library exile the top card. You may play that card without paying its mana cost. The main reason you play this card is because it lets your artifacts tap for mana. So what this does is Lord High Artificer here, along with Thopter Foundry and Sword of the Meek, allows you to go fully infinite, because every Thopter that you make gets to come into play as an artifact, even though it's blue. So then Urza lets you tap that new Thopter for mana, which then lets you sacrifice the Sword of the Meek again, and the Sword of the Meek comes back every time Thopter Foundry makes a new 1/1. So Urza makes the Thopters make mana, and then Sword of the Meek lets it keep coming back again and again and again. On top of all that, we have Whir of Invention here at the... Oh, you can also tap the sword for mana. Sure. You technically you generate infinite mana while doing this, because you're generating a sword and a Thopter an arbitrarily large number of times. So in addition to making an unlimited number of 1/1s, you also theoretically get to play out your entire deck while doing this, which in paper can include playing out the Spine of Ish Sah and sacrificing it and returning it over and over and over again and destroying your opponent's entire board. Online, obviously, clicking through that is going to be a little bit tedious. In fact, one of the reasons why we hadn't played this deck on stream yet to date is because this is a deck much like Devoted Company or Malira combo. This is a deck where there's probably going to be games in this league where I just go, well, in paper we'd win this because we'd be infinite and our opponent could no longer win, but we're either going to run out of time or our opponent's making us click through this, and I'm not going to bother to click through it because it's just tedious, and we can just mark it as a win even though we're not going to get the win on Magic Online. So we got Whir of Invention to kind of tie the room together and fetch up various utility artifacts. And then we also have Goblin Engineer here as a way to kind of entomb our Sword of the Meek or find other useful things that we can swap in and out. So at any rate, let's go ahead and dive on into some matches here and see how this goes. The Noblest of Dorks, thank you for the half a year of support. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Aimbot Bows, another new knight to defend the realm. Let's get you a sword to go with that shield. Thanks for keeping me around. I guess in hands like this are like, it's like, well, if I draw some lands, we theoretically have everything we need, right? But the goldfish on a hand like this is gonna be pretty slow a lot of the time. Yeah, so like here's a Merfolk on turn 1, so like I'm gonna get to kind of do stuff, but I'm not gonna be able to block their stuff now either, because they're almost certainly gonna have a Lord here. I wonder if they have a Spell Pierce or something here. We're gonna grab Hallowed Fountain versus Watery Grave is the same, right? I don't have any black or white cards other than Thopter Foundry. Alright, well, we've got plenty of Thopter Foundries here. Spell Pierce makes sense there. We kind of expected something to be happening since they didn't adapt this and hit me for 1 extra damage last turn. I see a couple of people using the new sponsor tag there in chat. We've added Woe Duels to the sponsor lineup. They're a peer-to-peer wagering platform that uses their own currency that you get some of for signing up. And you can obviously buy extra, but they also do daily free tournaments and other monthly giveaways and stuff like that. So spreading seas here, actually kind of rough for us. Means that we're not going to be able to cast this Thopter Foundry. We need white or black mana to cast this. The good news is my opponent is mostly just sitting here spinning their tires, huh? Yeah, this land draw is incredibly good for us. So I think I'm just gonna grab a swamp and cast the Thopter Foundry here. It's not resource efficient to do this, but actually I can turn the Wellspring into a Thopter. We're getting forced to negate it probably. I think it's correct to play this turn because they're gonna have a chance to spread this land next turn, and then I won't be able to cast this. And this can turn this into something too. Which getting forced to negated there feels bad, but you know, that's like the story of Modern. It felt bad. Wow. So they are all in on the So I could Whir here for up to 3. I could Urza into Foundry there, huh? Yeah, I missed it. This card makes mana, right? So I could have gone Urza off of these 3 and then cast this and this off of these 2 once Urza makes mana. Yeah, that's obviously much better. I think I'd rather just make a 1/1 here than cast the Whir of Invention. I'm just going to take my 1 again for now. So are we... If this resolves, we're infinite at this point, right? So I go 1, 2, tap this for what is 3, 4, 5, and that puts Sword of the Meek into play, and then Urza lets Sword of the Meek go crazy. So I'm going to go ahead and pass here to my opponent's turn. And the reason why I'm passing is because, the reason I'm passing here is because I want to... What's the word I'm searching for? I want to not get Force of Negated, because Force of Negation can only be alt cast on my turn. So if they have a Force of Negation here, they can't currently Force of Negation me. So we get Sword of the Meek, so we now have infinite life, an arbitrarily large amount of life, an arbitrarily large amount of 1/1s. Unless they have, like, a main deck surgical extraction here.
Daddy, do hungry.
You're hungry? No. Go tell Mommy. Mommy will get you something to eat, okay?
No.
Mommy's in charge in the mornings from now on, okay? Dad's working early.
No.
Alright, so I think obviously we just want the sweepers here. Some of these more expensive cards we want to cut. Sorry about that. Still figuring out all the details on the new morning schedule. So Grafdigger's Cage, obviously not very good here. Chromatic Star is probably important to keep as filtering. Spine of Ish Sah is probably too slow. Tormod's Grip's obviously bad. I'm not sure how I feel about Pithing Needle. Stopping Aether Vial on occasion is probably important. I feel like Decay and Trophy could be okay, but I also feel like my opponent's going to be attacking my mana with Spreading Seas and Seas Claims. So this is probably not a card I'm interested in having in my deck. I think I'm gonna cut the needle here. There's Pentad Prisms in this deck. That's interesting. Lots of things to enable the extra colors. Alright, let's do this. Urza being a somewhat playable 4-drop feels nice. Yeah, the fact that it makes the construct alongside it and it enables an infinite combo lets it go a long way towards being a card that actually sees play. Yeah, this deck does seem twin-esque. For sure. It's a little bit more convoluted in how it's accomplishing that. It has more moving parts, so maybe that's like the more appropriate way to have that combo in the format. It's like a twin deck that doesn't lose, or that loses to Stony Silence and Graveyard Hate. Or like Stony Silence and Graveyard Hate keep it from comboing. Astrolabe here is a great card to have. Phyrexian Revoker is a good one. That's a good one. Hey, you know we're a real esport now, Erdian. We've got online gambling platforms. Hashtag Magic has made it. So just prioritizing fetching basics here to take minimal damage from my mana base. since I have the Astrolabe here in order to filter our colors into whatever we need them to be. Do I have a way in my 60 right now to kill this card? I'm not sure that I do. It also might not matter, because I think, oh, we have an explosives. Yeah, that's true. I'd love to draw explosives here, actually, and just, like, blow up all these one-drops. Feels pretty dead man, huh? I cut the spine because it's really slow and clunky. My hand is just, like, nowhere near empty, so, like, top decking Ensnaring Bridge isn't an out. They have the Phyrexian Invoker to shut down the other thing, the Thopter Foundry, so that doesn't do anything. I can't block either way. I guess I could have waited a turn to try and draw Dead of Winter. Dead of Winter is also an out to, what's it called? Yeah, I guess I could have taken one more draw step there. Forgot we boarded in Dead of Winter. That's probably fine. I think 3 deads and an explosive is probably plenty of answers to Phyrexian Invoker. This hand has so many mystery cards in it. Part of me is tempted to keep, just because I'll be able to cast my spells despite their mana disruption, but another part of me thinks they might just be boarding their mana disruption out anyway, so I think I'm gonna mulligan that first one. Hand seems pretty good. I'm gonna bottom Sword of the Meek here. Grab an Island here. Island is your land, Island is my land. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Dubs. Dead of Winter. Probably pretty good to have in the opener. Let's grab some more snow-covered basics here. So Dead of Winter is a 3-mana sweeper. All non-snow creatures get -X/-X, where X the number of snow permanents we control. So this counts the Arcanum, Astro Vault, as well as any snow lands we have, which is great. Alrighty. Let's try and hit a land drop here. Yikes. Sweeper also not looking stellar in the face of Mutavault or in the face of a Force Negation there. We're probably going to fire off the first Dead of Winter pretty aggressively here. Just so, like, we want to keep the board small because we know they have this Force of Negation. Letting the board get bigger is not ideal. Because this is not guaranteed to happen. This is where the magic happens, chat. This is where the magic happens. Alright, this is a Mox Opal deck. Almost forgot that. I think we're probably dead here. I guess they might force this. And if they force this and don't have another one, this Dead of Winter might drag us limping across the finish line. Although if they have another Lord, we're taking 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So yeah, I guess we're just dead here, huh? The last 2 games really kind of showing why this isn't a 4x Ensnaring Bridge deck. Well, there's definitely going to be some situation where we're going to like want to tutor this up and it'll be good. We have a kind of a hard time getting it going. So even if they don't have Force Negation next turn, we're just dead to these Mutavaults. Land into Urza into Bridge. Well, I still have 3 cards in my hand there, and they have 4 lethal attackers. So I guess if I do that, they'd only have 3 lethal attackers, but I'd still only have 3 blockers, so that doesn't work either. Because the Mutavaults couldn't attack if I got down to just 3 Dead of Winters, but all Leaves could still attack, and that's lethal. It's a little bit of a stumble and fumble there. Merfolk having a solidly aggressive draw, along with a Force of Negation to not allow us to really get set up. Go to Dread of Wintered with Urza as well. That's not true, right? No, because if we drew a land, Urza only makes blue mana. Astrolabe only filters snow mana, right? Does it filter mana from anywhere? It does filter mana from anywhere, doesn't it? Alright, well that wasn't a line because we were at 1 and we drew a fetch land, but if we hadn't drawn a fetch land, we could have done that, sure. I'm gonna keep this. This hand's pretty good. We got a couple of chances to draw our second land. If we find our second land, we get to get rolling from there. Also true. Very dead to the Mutavaults regardless of how you sliced it. It's like one of those fun puzzle books where you have like 12 different choices. They all end up with you getting killed by the murderer. It's like, what if we... Nope. Alright, also still dead. Got it. What color are the elementals that War Nissa makes? Are they colorless? Unless Nissa explicitly says she turns them into a specific color, lands are colorless. So if she explicitly says they're a color, then they're the color she explicitly says, otherwise they are colorless. So they could be Death Shadow. This could also be a mirror match. The snow cover island implies that we're playing a mirror. I guess I could also theoretically be Lantern Control. I'm just playing Pentad Prism here. So stream yesterday. It's funny how Blade Beetle isn't stop necessary for making creatures. Yeah, I thought that was a weird way to. I thought that was a weird way to template that hate card, but it doesn't work against one of the most powerful. Work against one of the most powerful green cards. Ornell, thank you for the 11 months of Prime Support. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. So, what we like to draw next turn, I think it's a land. If we draw a land, we can go Urza into Wellspring. Inventor's Fair, yep. So that's them. Gain a life each turn, eventually tutor for something. Confirmed, not Lantern. The Bauble's actually pretty okay, right? Because it lets me go this. I guess I was going to have 2 mana regardless, right? Because he's basically cost 3 when you play him, right? Because he comes with an artifact that can make mana immediately. I guess if I tap this, I can't use it to... I can't draw a card with it this turn. So... Gosh. If they don't concede to us comboing, I'm probably just going to concede the match. Because, in theory, when you combo, you flip your entire deck out, including Spine of Ish Sah, and you loop it infinitely. And doing that on Magic Online is going to take, I don't know, 8,000 clicks. I'm basically playing this deck like Devoted Druid in that... This deck's even worse than Devoted Druid in the aspect of how much you have to click when they make you play it out. Hey, Punchworthy, coming in hot with the 42nd month of sport. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. So they're going to get Thopter Sword set up this turn, but they're not infinite on it yet. Kinda scissor. So like, if they the problem is that like if they don't concede, they can just reverse combo me back if I don't blow up their board. So if you don't blow up their board, they can just untap and stick their combo and then gain a bunch of life, so you can never attack them to death. Hey, Prof Bob. Bump Yarok Field for me. Will do. I appreciate the support. Thank you for the very generous tier 3 resub. All right, sweet. An opponent with honor. I'll concede when you do it. Please concede when I do it. Cheers, mate. All right, so this sounds like a Negate, Damping Sphere, Trophy, Surgical Extraction matchup. And I feel like my opponent is also going to be going after my combo, right? So I probably want... Is it crazy to bring in Agent of Tezzeret in this matchup? I feel like it's not. I feel like I want the alt win condition. How much have you missed? We're match 2. We're playing a mirror in match 2. Is it crazy to board down to 1 Sword of the Meek? I feel like it's not. I've got like 7 virtual copies here, basically. I kind of feel like I want to trim on the combo around the edges, because I assume they're going to be bringing in surgicals and stuff like that too. Ways to attack my graveyard. Although I guess targeted graveyard hate isn't even... Targeted graveyard hate isn't even that good, just because like you can pay an extra mana to like get around it. So maybe I don't even want this, because like as long as they have 1 extra mana up, it doesn't do anything, right? They have an extra mana and an extra artifact. You like go to surgical their sword and they just put another one. They just sack another artifact to get it back again in response. By that merit, maybe I am supposed to leave these in, since it's kind of difficult to interact with, unless they're packing like Leyline of the Void. I don't think you can trim Bauble as filler in this matchup. Gotta cut 2 more cards here. I just don't have room to hold up Negate. Alright, let's just click submit. Gotta make a decision here. Alright. I'm giving the mods their toys back. Yeah, that seems fine. I get to grab a swamp here and cast the lab, and then I have a castable trophy. Yep. It's not a terrible pickup. I play any linear or narrative video games? No, not really. It's been a while. No, the way Twitch works, Python, viewer count takes a while to build up, so I won't hit my average viewer count until probably about 9 or 10 a.m. So if you notice when I do my normal sponsor plugs, they don't happen until we're a little bit deeper into the stream usually. I feel like I'm out of the loop. What is the feral hog meme? My Twitter had a bunch of them in it yesterday. I feel like I missed something. Yeah, Skyrim's not a linear video game. I guess it's a narrative video game, you could consider it probably. A curiosity, Shadkaran the Great Creator, be a 2 of in the sideboard, makes this deck resilient to graveyard hate and shuts down opposing Urza decks in the mirror. As you will often hear me say on this stream, the world will be a better place if people would stop giving opinions on things they're not educated or informed about. So I don't have a lot of experience playing this deck, so what could or should be in the sideboard, I have no idea. Not actual zero clue. You won't hear me make strong claims one way or another. I would defer to what really smart players who spent time playing this at the Pro Tour and preparing to play at the Pro Tour, like Brian Bronduin did. That would be my piece of advice. Whatever they did is probably smart because they probably spent a lot of time playing it. Even after I've played, 5 or even 15 matches with the deck on here, that's not that many. Like if I was preparing to play a deck in an event, I would want to play, 5 or 6 times that many matches to feel comfortable with something brand new. Which, again, is actually a big part of the reason why Modern has the diversity it has in it, is in large part due to the fact that, it is a very big time commitment to learn a new deck. So, even when a deck that a player likes becomes much worse, they're not that likely to change decks because the amount of time that you have to commit to learning a new deck in Modern is high. Alright, so what do I want to do here? I can... Land here is the win, is it? So I can go Urza for 4, and that makes an artifact, and this is tapped. I have an artifact, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then that lets me cast this for 2. Yeah, I'm counting the construct. So if I tap all 4 of these, I get a construct. So the construct is 1, then this is 2, then this is 3, 4, because it makes a mana and taps for mana, and this is 5. And then I have 1 mana left over after I search up the Thopter Foundry. So I don't think that's accurate. I don't think they're anywhere near dead. I believe we're 2 mana short because I would need because you need a mana to start comboing 2. So I think the game plan here is cast this sword, cast this. Yeah, I'm still 2 short, Foxicon. So after I cast, oh, you're saying the sword the sword taps. Okay, yeah, you're right. So I'm one short. Still short regardless, but it's one and not two. So I'm gonna cast the star, and then we're gonna Assassin's Trophy the Thopter Foundry, I think is the plan. So in response to this, I'm going to go ahead and trophy their Thopter Foundry. So they have one less mana to make a Thopter with here. Yeah, this archetype had a number of really good players playing it. I agree with that comment though too, Percy, that this is a style of deck that gets much better with open deck lists. So the performance of like this deck and blue-white control and Jund at the Pro Tour is going to be better than it would be in a normal open field, which says a lot about things because a lot of those decks did not perform well at the Pro Tour. So they're going to perform even worse in a normal tournament where they're playing with hidden information. It did do horrible there. So I'm saying blue-white actual power level is even lower than its performance at the Pro Tour would imply. The lack of hidden information is a huge asset to fair decks. I think open deck list is just good for Magic in general. But I also don't really have a strong opinion on it anymore because I don't really play much tournament Magic. A lot of people who play a lot of tournament Magic really don't care for open deck lists because they know that there's so little edges to be gained in actual play skill that they need the element of surprise a lot of the time to give themselves an actual advantage. We're dead to Urza Thopter Foundry here, right? I agree, Panza. And that mulligan / keep decision tends to greatly benefit decks that are trying to be interactive because like a linear deck can make good mulliganing decisions just like on how fast its goldfish is in game one, whereas interactive decks, we'll talk about it on here a lot in every format of Magic, will be like, oh, well this hand could just have the wrong half problem. And like if we're playing against control, this hand is great. If we're playing against aggro, this hand is great. But if you're playing against the inverse, you basically just lose. All right, and last turn we were 1 mana short. So this turn we should have exactly enough to get them, assuming they don't have a negate. They did hold up 2 mana last turn, and it looks like they might be holding up 2 mana this turn, so there's a very real possibility we get, like, negated or Dovin's vetoed or something. Paulo said that London Mulligan plus open deck lists in Modern essentially leads to different format. Yeah, I agree. The fact that deck lists were open made main deck ley lines a much better idea. A lot less of a hope and pray because you could mulligan to your ley line game 1. Alright, so we do this, and we do this, and we do this. And we're infinite now. And they conceded. Alright, sweet. When people concede this deck, it's exactly like Devoted Druid. When people concede to you having them comboed, it's like not a big deal. But it's like the first person that makes you click through it, it's like, well, what are we doing here? Yeah, that's literally what we were just discussing, Chef Seth. Open deck list is a huge boon for interactive decks. Which, then, by the nature of that, if it's a boon for interactive decks, then their decks that aren't linear are getting a boost, and decks that are linear are not. So they're worse than they would be in normal Modern. Astrolabe. Doing whatever an Astrolabe can do. Astrolabe. Could be another mirror. Morning booty snacks. Could be Phoenix. Could be Storm. Smells like Phoenix. Am I playing this or this? I think I'd rather just get this into play. Yeah, this card's kind of become like omnipresent in Pauper for the small amount I've dipped into that format. Yeah, playing around Extraction game 1 is definitely smart here. We get to do that very nicely. I just like having an extra mana up when we go to combo. So, if I want to put down Tormod's Crypt, I can cast Goblin Engineer here. Oh, that's just the combo, right? Magic's a hard game, chat. Is this deck Splinter Twin? I need some more opinions, but is this deck Splinter Twin? Is it like Twin that cares about artifact and graveyard hate, kinda? I hadn't thought about that, but someone else said that earlier, and the more I think about it, I think this deck is Splinter Twin. What do we think? Where are we at? I feel like calling it Splinter Twin might not be unreasonable. I think I'm gonna cut the Goblin Engineers against the Surgical Extraction deck. Yeah, I forgot my glasses upstairs this morning, and I was running behind and didn't want to take 2 minutes to run back up and get them. What do we think of this board plan? Do I want Surgicals of my own in this matchup? I feel like I probably don't. I feel like Cage, Crypt, Damping Sphere are probably fine. I think I like this plan. Yeah, I feel like this deck is just like different from Splinter Twin, which is Like, this is probably a more, like, what Wizards would prefer a twin-style deck be in the format. There's more interaction points for this deck, because you can kill Urza, you can have Stony Silence, you can like, have Leyline of the Void or Rest in Peace, so, like, there's a lot of angles you can disrupt this infinite combo from. This hand is okay. Yeah, so the glasses that I have are they're just blue light filtering glasses. So they help with eye strain on exceptionally long days. But I'm planning to get more into a normal-ish work schedule starting today. So I'm only planning to be live for like 7 hours today, as opposed to like the 8 to 10 that I've been doing a lot of lately. I think I'm waiting to crack the Bauble here because I'd like to get side down. Although I guess, yeah, okay, yeah, they didn't play a Thing in the Ice, so I think I'm just gonna get side down next turn. It might have been right to board this out, actually, in the face of Thing in the Ice. Yeah, the Woe Duels platform seems interesting. They have Surgical Extraction or something here. Yep. Welcome to Modern, enjoy your stay. It's like, it's hard to be too upset here, because, like, we Splinter Twinned them last game, so... They just didn't take anything, Burgle. The gambling thing makes you uncomfortable if you're being honest. I would highly encourage you to not be made uncomfortable by things that you are in no way obligated to do, and don't hurt people who don't want to be involved in them. Lots of people enjoy gambling, and if you don't, that's great. But there's no reason to harsh things other people enjoy just because you don't enjoy them. Especially when it's gambling with a for fun currency if you don't want to put any actual dollars into it. That's true. The amount of risk that you take playing something like Woo Duels is probably less than the amount that most people gamble on Magic Online in a given month. So we're kind of hoping to draw a land next turn, so that way we can get Sword of the Meek going. Do I... Gambling is a net negative to society. Gambling in not moderation is a net negative to society. But it sounds like you're making an argument about a thing that you personally don't like. You know, maybe I'm supposed to sack the Chromatic Star here to start. They have a Surgical anyways. All right, we're dead. We can play around Surgical in this deck if we have extra mana. They just had so much pressure on us overall that we just weren't able to do that from the start. Yeah, it is literally just entertainment. Yeah, there's people that make bad decisions and spend money that they don't have on computers, and they spend money they don't have on alcohol, and they spend money that they don't have going to movies, and they spend money that they don't have going out to eat. Like there are basically every form of entertainment that exists has people spending money that they shouldn't be spending on it because they don't have impulse control. They spend money they don't have. We're literally sitting here playing Magic the Gathering. I know lots of people that spend money that they shouldn't be spending on Magic the Gathering. My favorite, I remember when I was grinding the SCG tour, I'd remember you'd see people who they'd be like, nah, I can't really afford to go out to Friday's to eat dinner tonight. My budget's kind of tight. And it's like, don't you have a fully foil legacy deck with like black bordered dual lands in it? And they're like, yeah, but I'm broke. It's like, get out of here. Stop it. Stop it. Genesis Protect, thanks for the 10-month resub. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Why do you think the budget's tight? I think one of the most messed up, or one of the most awkward budget stories from my time grinding the tour. Once upon a time, this was way back, SCG used to pay you out in cash for top 16ing or top 32ing the old opens. And there was a guy, I remember, they conceded their winning in matchup for top 8 because they needed the $100 from top 16 and couldn't wait for the top 8 check in the mail. And it was just like, wowza. All right, so we're going to Pentad Prism here. They thought scoured me. They must not have a way to take this cage off the table. Now, that's not true. They probably have an Abrade. Well, so part of the problem, Burgle, is that, like, they almost certainly have ways to take artifacts off the table, right? I think you might be right. I don't know, the second word changes things too, though, right? We do not have a second Ensnaring Bridge. Yeah, they definitely have at least 2 Surgicals. A lot of these decks are on 2 Surgicals, 3 Ravenous Traps. I think I'm going to go ahead and just pass here. We do not have Welding Jar in our 75. Also, Shatterstorm is not an unreasonable card for these decks to play a lot of the time. That's not what I want to do. Pay one. So we're not infinite, but that's one of the things that's neat about this deck is you don't need to be infinite in order to really start doing stuff. Like just Sword plus Thopter gains you a life and makes you a 1/1. Are we about to get double Spell Pierced? Or are they just pulling a counter off of this? Is Leyline only sideboard okay, or would you suggest another? I don't understand your question, Ornella. Are you missing a word in there somewhere? There's actually some merit to waiting to do this just because they can't force of negation for free on their turn. But they'll have 3 mana up and can pay force of negation for mana on their turn. I'm just gonna go ahead and pass here. There's no reason to be super aggressive with this. Actually, I'm gonna play the other Mox Opal out. So with the Mox Opal, I beat double surgical, right? What's the context to your question, Ornell? Are you talking about this deck that I'm playing? What deck are you talking about? Context is key. We definitely have a lot more parts in this deck than Splinter Twin, but the fact that we get to... So, I'm gonna make Thopters at this point, because I can beat 2 surgical extractions, but I can't beat 3. So I'm gonna play around the off chance here of them having double surgical. And I think I'm not going to make another one, because if I make another one, I can't beat double surgical anymore. I'm not sure what Blister Burn refers to. Like, what kind of deck that is. Yeah, I agree, Burgle. It's very different, right? It might be right to just sit here and make Thopters, honestly, instead of drawing cards. It's a tough decision. Like, am I supposed to draw cards, or am I supposed to just, like, make Thopters? I'm just casting this out again here. Mono red prowess. I'd assume that deck plays Faithless Looting, right? If you have Looting, Leyline of the Void's probably pretty good. So I assume this other thing in the ice is flipping over. They've been a bunch of Arclight Phoenixes here, but I've got a Grafdigger's Cage in place, so unless they have, like, land Echoing Truth, we're gonna be fine. So then they have one card in their hand. Or it's like looking for an Urza, basically. Well. Even if that card is surgical, we still beat them, right? So I have infinite mana. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana. I appreciate people who respect their time in the morning. I appreciate the people who know what's going on and understand that they are splinter twinned. Opponents that cannot beat an arbitrarily large amount of life, which is what we would go to in paper. We're gonna get semi close to that, and Magic Online is just would require a lot of clicking. Two and one after getting run over by the Merfolks. A little bit of stumble and die in that matchup, though. Just continue counting our lucky stars that our Moto opponents are like cutting us some slack and not making us go through it. Morning, Muffin. Yep, yeah, in paper, you also get to, like, cast every spell out of your deck, including Spine, blowing their thing up over and over again. Imagine if Moto had a league clock for each player in addition to match clocks. It's an interesting idea. This hand just doesn't do anything, right? Huh? Can I keep this? I think I'm gonna keep this and hope to draw a land. We're on the play, so it's a little speculative, but like any second 1 or 0 mana artifact lets us turn on the Mox Opal too. So I think I'm gonna keep this and bottom the Whir. For some of my regulars who are just getting in about this time and wondering why I was live already, as a heads up, my schedule is going to be changing a little bit moving forward. I'm shifting it down. So I went live about 7 a.m. this morning, which was about an hour ago. And Modern and / Magic Online is going to be from about 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. every morning now, Monday through Friday. And then Standard's going to run from about 10 to 2. Now, obviously, that won't be exactly precise because games don't always end on the hour, but they're thereabouts approximately. Will be my goals. And if that earlier schedule doesn't quite work out for you, remember that you will be able to find everything on the YouTube archives as always. Perfect. Hit the land drop. Now, Burgle, they could be playing. They could be playing, what's it called, right? They could be playing the Vengevine deck. They could be on the GAC. The Gak is back. The Gak is back. Yeah, I actually think Gak is better for us here than Mill would be. Yeah, they're milling themselves. Sweet. God, blessed be the Gak. If we draw a land or a Mox Opal, they're dead next turn, right? Well, yeah, they're effectively dead, right? Gosh, this deck is actually just Splinter Twin. That's so gross. All right, yeah, I mean, they're gonna have a pretty good turn too, but we might turn 3 them. This deck is much... Yeah, I agree, Burgle. There are a lot of decks in Modern that are much better than Splinter Twin, and it is comically bad to the point of being embarrassing that Splinter Twin is still not legal in this format. Crypt Breaker is a sweet one. I've seen some of these Gak decks experimenting with that one. Opponent's deck, also much better than Splinter Twin. So this is their turn 2. They have 8, 9, 10, 10 power. Or sorry, 12, 14 power. Missed the Vengevine. Land, please. Papi! Papi! Oh, Modern. Opponent put 14 power into play on turn 2. Wasn't anywhere near good enough. Next. I say good day. All right, so trim side, trim a Pithing Needle. Bring in the Surgicals, bring in the extra Grafdigger's Cage. Goblin Engineer is probably a little slow. We'll trim one of him. This is Splinter Twin. If Twin got to play 6 main deck tutors for their non-creature combo pieces, and those tutors also find the best 8 pieces in Modern. Yeah, it really is. So Modern has gotten to a point where playing a lot of the brews has really become very frustrating and stale, because as more sets have been printed into Modern, the decks that just aren't good enough have gotten worse and worse and worse. Whereas playing good decks like this and like Blue Red Phoenix we played yesterday, it's like Legacy. There's not a lot of variety in the format and what's really good, but the decks that are good are kind of sweet. They're doing neat things. They're novel. You get to blast off with them. Yeah. So it's not so much that I dislike Modern, it's that the way in which I used to enjoy playing Modern no longer is really viable. Yeah, Burgle, I mean, you can make that argument for Legacy too, though. Like, there's a similar number. There's a similar number of decks that are, like, legitimately good in Legacy. Like, all the decks I liked that were, like, kind of close to almost good enough, like Vanafear and, like, Kiki Cord and Elves and stuff like that, those decks have gotten worse and worse with every set release. Alright, I think this is a mulligan. This doesn't really do anything, right? It doesn't have any of my hate cards. No hate cards, no. Alright. Just like we drew it up. Am I binning the Whir here? Is it too greedy to bottom a land? What do the kids say? YOLO? Yeah, I think part of the reason why they don't really experiment with stuff like that, Muffin, is because Moto doesn't really have that large of a player base. So, like, there's a reason why they recently cut all of the friendly and competitive leagues and merged them into one, because they just don't have the player base to have multiple queues like that anymore. I'm gonna do this now, just in case they have a fetch land. So they have a Nature's Claim in their hand. They boarded in some trophies. There's a Force of Vigor in their bin. There's a Force of Vigor in their hand. Yeah, they are not particularly happy with our artifacts, chat. Let's take a picture because it lasts longer. Now, I can actually use this Surgical Extraction as a discard spell to take their other Force of Vigor away here if we really wanted. Remember that time I bottomed my third land instead of the Whir of Invention? Pepperidge Farm remembers. We're about to die to these creatures right here. These creatures right here are about to mess us up. Nah, I'm not a huge fan of single player games. Was it the things I've been playing a touch of here and there in my off stream time? Or what have I been playing? I've been playing a little bit of the Warhammer card game has a really reasonable digital client. Dota Underlords, Overwatch, and Killing Floor 2. Those are the things I've been playing of late. All right, well, let us untap with this. So here's my Urza. Hey, thanks for the 8 months, Scanning Gear. I appreciate the support. Welcome back. Here's my 1/4. A king on this board, if you would. So let's block with this, and then, because we have this surgical, if this mills a GAC, we can surgical it inside of combat. Yeah, so I can surgical this GAC right now before they ever have a chance to cast it when they're main phase, because they can't cast this creature inside of combat. So the GACs are gone. Man, they have a copy of Shenanigans in their deck too. What artifacts hurt you, opponent? What did they do to you? What did the artifacts do to you? They made life an infinite Thopters. Fair. Harsh, but fair. All right, I think it's time to start plowing through, right? We're just gonna like start worrying for stuff. They're not dead. They have Force of Vigor and Nature's Claim. Do I just get Ichor Wellspring? I think you're right, I just get Ichor Wellspring. Alright, and then I get to spine them? Destroy target permanent? Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. Oh, yeah. Thank goodness we found a way to cast Stone Rain. I know Chad is very pleased right now. We artifact Ponza, boys. We artifact Ponza, boys and girls. We did it. We did it. We did it. Hooray! You know, I was kind of upset when we drew this spine earlier. Little did we know. Steady as she goes. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Oh no, don't claim my artifact. Spine of Shishisha. All right, nobody blink. Nobody blink. Opponent doesn't want to play Magic with us anymore. Opponent doesn't want to play Magic with us anymore. All right, once more onto the breach, my children. My Splinter Twin deck is here and it is ready. Gosh, we died to Merfolk of all things in this league. We beat the Mirror, we beat Gak, we beat Izzet Phoenix, and we lost to Merfolk. That's just embarrassing. Calling this Splinter Twin is wildly underselling the deck. You're probably right. Lantern Twin. Lantern. That makes it sound so much more horrible than it actually is. Lantern Twin. Oh, baby. Light it up. I'm on fire. Oh, ho, 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 do, 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 do. Prism's actually a really good draw here, huh? Is it crazy to not cycle the Bauble so I can sack the Bauble to gain a life with Thopter Foundry? Is that nuts? I feel like that's the line, huh? Discuss. Draw a card or gain one, get a thing. Oh, we're drawing a Whir here too. Yeah, we're definitely just holding on to this. Hey, Cannon Gear, thanks for the support. I appreciate it. Alright, kill me. Let's get Revolt Zoo in the queue. Will do. Do we have enough mana to kill them next turn? That's a good question, actually. Are we dead? 9. We're dead to another 3-ball here, right? Yeah, I think we do, right? Because this makes a mana. And then I have, so I make one, I'll have one left on here, and then I have 1, 2, 3. Yeah, they're dead. If they had a bolt, they'd have killed us, right? Oh, wait. I was thinking I was casting sword. Maybe I'm wrong, because we have to whir for the sword. We have to whir for the sword. I need to recount now. I think we're 1 short. No, we're a lot more than 1 short, right? Because I can cast this. Yeah, sword's 2 mana. So the first step is cast this. The problem here is I'm dead to double Grim Lavamancer activation too. Yeah, so I can work for 0, so I'm 2 mana short of doing it this turn. That being said, I can avoid dying to double Grim Lavamancer activation. So, if their hand is a creature and they draw a creature, we get to combo them next turn. Tormod's crypting them doesn't work here, chat. Because it requires tapping my blockers and they just attack me. That's the same difference. Yep. And I can gain 1 more here, but the Grim Lavamancer kills us. No, you can only sacrifice non-token artifacts, Burgle. Oh, you're saying I could have word for 0 and then sacrifice that? Yeah, I guess that's true. I still die to this. Yeah, I could have gained 2, you're right. Doesn't matter, the Grim Lavamancer is still lethal. The attacks are also lethal once I tap off of things. Oh, I guess I would have had 2 blockers. Yeah, we were 1 point of life short there at the end. So, like, if that Prismatic Vista had just, like, been a basic, we'd have been okay. Yeah, they were on the plate and had an aggressive start. So, like, not super worried about what really happened there. I think I just board in Negates, a couple of Negates and a couple of Abrupt Decays. I think the plan's just, like, race them here. Not a huge fan of Dead of Winter in this matchup. I think Engineered Explosives is too slow. I think spending 3 mana to kill their 1-drop is not a profitable exchange. I know after games like that one we just played, it feels like Engineered Explosives is really good, but the opponent's deck generally only has 10 1-mana spells in it, so you're very rarely going to get a 2-for-1 with Engineered Explosives. There's going to be some games where it happens, obviously, but a lot of the time that's not the case. It's not like what the average case scenario looks like. No, Damping Sphere should never come in against Burn. Never, ever, ever. This hand's really good. You get to go Astrolabe on 1, Fetch Swamp, Pentad Prism on 2, Thopter Foundry on 3, start making some dorks. Oh, sweet. And with this, I can play this basic island now. And then filter to make 2 colors here. Morning, Paula. It's a soggy sphere. Water beats fire. Oh, chat, never change. Scale of 1 to Eidolon, where are we at here? There actually aren't any white cards in the 75, right? I think the Hallowed Fountain's pretty silly. Because this is basically a blue-black card. You just pretend that there's not... I can't think of a reason to have Hallowed Fountain over a second Watery Grave. That's not a real reason, Conqueror. Because Watery Grave is always going to give you a second color for Pentad Prism 2. Engineered Explosives, theoretically, but there's 1 EE. So that's not really a real thing either. So the question now becomes, do I want to play Ichor Wellspring and then sack Ichor Wellspring and make 1/1/1? Or do I want to burn the counters off of this and sack both of these to gain 2 here? What are the odds I die if I play and sack Ichor Wellspring this turn? I think it's pretty low, right? I feel like it's a pretty low probability I die next turn if I do this. Oh, that's a good draw. Just like the best possible. Actual factual best. You know what? No one's EEing for 3 and 4 in Modern. Maybe 3 some of the time. Definitely not 4. Gonna put this into play tapped and pass. We're mostly just waiting on a Sword of the Meek at this point. Or way to search up Sword of the Meek. Goblin, Whir, etc. So they have a Rift Bolt suspended right now. It feels like they're holding up a Skullcrack there. And I think because they might have the ability to destroy an artifact here, I'm just going to go ahead and keep both Thopter Foundries here, because I don't really need the extra mana from Mox Opal at this point. Although I guess holding up, if they are on something like Smash, holding up a mana to be able to sacrifice a Thopter Foundry is good, because it denies Smash dealing damage that way. So yeah, maybe I should leave up one here, because I'm only going to 9 anyways, so like I'm still dead to double burn spell regardless. Just like Splinter Twin and Lantern, this deck seems like it has a pretty rough burn matchup. Would EE be too powerful for Standard? Probably not. Oh, do 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 do. All right, they have a Rift Bolt suspended, so we're going to 1 here. Feels dead, man. Worth noting, the burn deck's only drawn 4 lands. Games where the burn deck only draws 4 lands, you usually lose. Should have just skipped the 5th match. Always end up 3 and 2. I feel like this deck had trouble in the matchups looking at it where I'd expect it to have trouble. Basically, faster decks like Merfolk and Burn, where our Whir of Invention doesn't really find meaningful hate cards that lock them out. It feels like it's going to be a hard time. Like against faster decks like Phoenix and Gok, where Grafdigger's Cage has text, you're probably going to be okay. But in matches where you need to actually assemble your game plan, you get picked apart by Disruption a little bit. We beat all the good modern decks and get destroyed by the randoms. I mean, I don't know that I'd call Burn a random modern deck. I think Burn's one of the better decks in the format right now, so. All right, at any rate, we're gonna roll right along here. As far as, I guess to wrap before I close this video, as far as specifics on this deck list, whenever I'm playing a deck list that has a lot of people working on it that have spent a lot of time to play in big tournaments, I'm not really going to give my opinion on what cards you should or shouldn't be playing, because you should be deferring to people who have more experience with it than someone like myself. I think my only real comment is this Hallowed Fountain is silly. There's no reason, other than this Engineered Explosive in the sideboard, that this shouldn't just be another Watery Grave to make your Dead of Winters and your Assassin's Trophies more castable, because basically the idea behind this is it's an island that casts the split mana half cost of Thopter Foundry, and we don't have any white cards in our deck, but we have black cards in the sideboard, so having another land that lets us cast these sideboard